So, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about identity and access management, custom identity access management, a lot of mentions about this technology area already. And I want to talk about access management and how we are redefining it. Right? And before I get into it, let me kind of take a step back and let's discuss why we need to start reimagining access management. How many of you, a show of hands, how many of you are familiar with Neuralink? Okay, a few hands up there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't followed Neuralink, go check it out. This was a company formed only about 8 years ago by Elon Musk. You know Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla and SpaceX. And he hired a bunch of computer scientists and neuroscientists into this company with the goal of figuring out how do you convert neural messages, your brain messages, into ones and zeros. Ones and zeros being the foundation of all computing. Right? The idea is, the vision is, how do we eventually input a chip in our brains, think, and stuff happens, right? Think about a world where you think, oh, I want to transfer some money from this account to the other account, right? You just think it and it happens. Imagine in a world where you're thinking through all this, what does identity and access management need to be? What does security become? Right? This is where the world is headed. And you think this is science fiction? It's not really. Just last year, Neuralink got approval in the US to start human trialing. Right? There's already a demo video of someone playing Super Mario Kart using their brains. Just thinking through it. Right? That's the future. It's no longer science fiction. I'm sure you guys all heard about the Metaverse. There's a lot of buzz around it with Facebook, Microsoft, everybody jumping in on the bandwagon. It hasn't really picked up yet, but there's definitely applications especially from a workforce standpoint, where we have companies that are dispersed around the world, but then you're now in a completely virtual world where security becomes super important and extremely complex. Right? Both of these, Neuralink and the Metaverse, haven't really affected us yet. But if there's one technology area that's really, really sweeping and creating a lot of buzz and actually something that we interact with every day, that's artificial intelligence, AI. It's everywhere. On your social media, every time you do a search on the internet, AI is powering it all. We are interacting with it already. But with the emergence and the development and everything that's happening with AI comes so many threats. Now, bot attacks, phishing attacks are not just bot attacks and phishing attacks. Now, these are AI-powered bot attacks and phishing attacks, making security that much more important and that much more complex. Because it's not about just making your applications, making your systems secure. Because the world has evolved from just going through secure experiences. Our next generation is they use Netflix, they use Snapchat. Dinal, he posted the photo of him using Tinder. I know everybody's using all these different applications, right? And they're expecting that sort of experiences from our banking applications, from our mobile applications, right? And from the insurance applications, and from our government services. They are no longer going to sit back and take on a secondary experience, which is where today identity access management has come to a place where we talk about all users deserving experiences that are not only secure, but are also simple and seamless. Two things that were never spoken in the same sentence: security and seamless and simple. Right? How do you balance both of them? That is what identity access management today in modern identity access management is about. This is what WSO2 identity access management is about, to help you figure out how you provide both a simple, secure, and seamless experience for your users. right? So identity access management has been there since 1960s, based on my research. It's mainly focused on workforce identity access management. And this space, there are a few subdivisions, some areas, right? We talk about identity governance, privilege access management, web access management, and access management as a whole, right? But out of all these areas, if there's one foundational area that we need to focus on first, that is access management. Because access management is where it starts. It's about confirming that person is who he or she says they are. That's where it starts, right? That's where access management starts. If you have access management in place, then you can use privileged access management and give those privileged users access to those privileged systems. But first you need to know if that person is who that person says he or she is. And if you know who that person is through access management, yeah, you can run all the regulatory audits to see if the person has all the access that person should have using identity governance. The person can request access and be granted those requests. All those workflows can run, but it all starts with that user confirming he or she is who they say they are, right? So that's where access management comes into play. And Elon said WSO2, we are an access management player. That's what we provide. Not identity governance or privileged access management or web access management. There are specialized vendors who do excellent work in these spaces. Ours is more focused on access management. And when we say access management, we go across every type of access management you can think of. It starts with workforce identity access management. It's about your employees. Now, those days, yeah, okay, they are employees. They have no choice but to go through the horrible experience we provide when they log in, right? I speak to so many banks, so many insurance companies. I was just talking to an insurance company in France a couple of weeks ago, to their CISO. They have 100 applications. An employee will have access to 30 applications. They had to remember 30 different username and passwords. How do they keep track of the username and passwords? They have an Excel sheet or some Post-its, right? And these are banks, insurance companies. How insecure is that? You need to have single sign-on. And then go one step further to provide multi-factor authentication, right? And the more secure you make it for your employees, with single sign-on, MFA, so on and so forth, the more secure it is, right? Starts with the workforce and access management. Next, we talk about customer identity and access management. Today it's pronounced as SIAM, right? SIAM focuses on consumers, B2C, consumer SIAM, or government to citizen, G2C SIAM. It's about providing consumers and citizens with experiences that make them want to come back and utilize the services. It's about converting people who are on your website into registered users. It's about converting them into customers that keep on using your services and love it so much that they bring in their friends and family and all to come and use your services as well, right? And in customer identity access management and SIAM as well, I'll talk about this a bit more, there's a new area of focus, right? It's newer than consumer SIAM or citizen SIAM. It's called B2B SIAM, B2B customer identity access management. These are about applications, B2B applications, your corporate banking applications, your agent banking applications. I'll talk about that as we go in. That's B2B SIAM. And then, of course, API access management. It's about all those APIs that you now built. How do you secure these? Making sure there's no vulnerabilities with these APIs. So we, ladies and gentlemen, focus on all these types of access management. Right? Having said that, take a step back. Right? Lashan spoke about all our integration platform. Right? The question is, how does all this access management stuff fit into my digital strategy? Right? Where does it really fit in? Right? So we talk about digital transformation. Right? It's most of yours bread and butter. You eat, drink, sleep, digital transformation. Right? But what are we trying to really do with digital transformation? It's about creating a unified set of systems of record. That's where it starts. That's where you bring in your enterprise integration. You integrate your core banking application, your underwriting systems with your CRM, your HR applications, all of these applications all integrated, right? And by doing so, you build out these domain APIs, your domain services, right, related to these applications that you have now integrated. This is your digital core. This is what you use your enterprise integration, your ESB, to integrate all of these together. What's next step? You bring in API management, right? And utilize these core domain services, expose them as experience APIs, right? APIs through which you can utilize these applications, right? You can expose these APIs internally, you'll expose these externally as a developer portal, right? You have people in your ecosystems, businesses, startups in your ecosystem come, utilize these APIs, and you may end up monetizing these APIs. In this layer, our security starts off with API access management to secure every one of those APIs with OAuth, OAuth 2.0 tokens, and so on and so forth, right? And then now you have these experience APIs. What do you do next? You start building applications against these APIs. And the applications differ from who the end user is. We first start off, most likely, building applications for our internal employees, like we did at WSO2 with our WSO2's internal digital transformation journey. We build applications for our employees, web apps, mobile apps, API products, everything, right? Here, from an IAM perspective, you're going to require B2E, workforce identity access management, for employees when they're authenticating to these applications, right? Then you'll use these experience APIs, extend them to build experiences for your consumers, B2C, or your citizens, G2C, SIAM, right? And then finally, you expose these APIs to your business partners, your B2B customers, right? And you need to now you need to secure these experiences for your B2B users, customers, partners, suppliers, franchisees, and so on and so forth, agents. That's where B2B SIAM comes into play. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how SIAM, identity and access management, joins your journey into digital transformation, enterprise integration, API management. And what makes WSO2 a perfect partner, a perfect vendor, is that we got all these technologies on a single platform, right? So, having said all this, let's take a step back again. Let's take a dive into SIAM for consumers, B2C SIAM, or G2C, or government citizen custom identity access management. Here we talk about onboarding users, right? Users come onto your platform. They are usually, they'll end up having to fill a form that has 120 questions. No, it's no longer about that. How do you make it simple and easy for your users to authenticate into and to basically sign on and onboard into your applications? Do you set up social logins? You set up passwordless, so on and so forth. Well, mostly social logins or federate into another identity provider. As soon as Kenya has set up your digital identity, maybe you will use your digital identity and authenticate into your applications as a federated identity options, right? So starts with user onboarding. Then, as I mentioned, instead of having a form that has 20 to 100 questions, you ask just the basic questions at the start and start building that profile of the user. And you progressively ask questions as and when required, but update a singular centralized profile of that user. We call this progressive profiling, right? Then, if your users have multiple applications that they need to use as a consumer, how do you provide single sign-on across those applications, right? Nissan North America, Nissan Europe, and soon Nissan Africa is going to be is also going to be a customer. Europe and US both are customers already. If in the US, if you try to go to Nissan online, you'll have one application to customize your vehicle. You have another application to set up all your financing, everything, and you have another application, right, to where you monitor the production of your vehicle, and finally another applications for after sales care. Technically, from an IAM perspective, that's multiple applications. As a consumer, you don't want to keep on signing into multiple applications. You have single sign-on across all these applications, right? Then we talk about user profile management or self-service. Forget about having, call centers where users call in to say, hey, I need to reset my password. I need to check what consent I have given, and so on and so forth. No, it's about having the users having ability to go and self-service their access. Self-service the consent that they have given you, right? And then it comes to authentication. How are the users authenticating into the application, right? Are they using biometrics to authenticate? Are they going passwordless, right? And then you have conditional authentication, right? We talk about conditional authentication this user is logging in from a different IP. He's not in the same country he usually is in, right? Then if not, make him jump through another hoop. Multi-factor authentication, right? Having that experience of making that much more secure. When we talk about fraud detection, there are multiple types of fraud detection. Out of the box, we have capabilities to support bot detection and so on and so forth to prevent you from bot attacks. And then we end up being an orchestration platform where you can integrate whatever other fraud detection solutions you need to create that experience. That experience, that journey is what you want to provide your customers. I'll talk about some of the journeys our customers have built, and we help provide you with that orchestration platform to create that journey, make it customized to you. Consent and privacy, such an important space today. Users are increasingly aware of the consent and the data they're sharing with any type of organization they're interacting with. Managing that consent and providing the user with that self-service ability to manage and monitor the consent that they're providing becomes very important. And omni-channel support. There's going to be so many channels through which consumers interact with you: web, mobile, in-person, kiosks, devices, so on and so forth. How do you make that experience unified across all of these, right? And that, from a SIAM perspective, there are two big problems we're trying to solve. One is the unified experience across all the channels. That's number one. That's where we start. All of these drive down to that. Unified experience, simple, seamless across all the channels that you have available. Starts there. Thereafter, the gold standard is how do you use that data, or how do you use that identity information to provide the user with personalized experiences, right? Sounds fancy, that's great, but getting to that gold standard, it's a journey, right? We use this SIAM maturity model to help organizations kind of figure out where they are in that journey, right? It starts with businesses that have no managed identities. I have a feeling a lot of you guys are not in this state. Startups are today. Majority of the customers come to us, they are in this second stage, where they have some level of managed identities. And most often than not, these managed identities, the identities are managed on an application basis, right? It's identities managed on the core banking system, it's on the mobile banking system, it's on the web banking systems. Identities are, at this point, it's managed, but it's completely disconnected. You're in a siloed state of identity and access management from a SIAM perspective as well, right? I'm going to talk about the next customer. They were exactly in this state. They had managed identities, but completely disconnected. They wanted to, and at this point, they're like, how do we bring all of these together? Right? That's where you start thinking about a centralized IAM or SIAM solution that is extensible, flexible enough to bring all of these digital experiences together. And by doing so, provide a connected and a unified experience for all your users, in this case specifically for your consumers. And once you have all this integrated with also your APIs and your enterprise integration, all of these connected identity-led digital transformation is that. Once you've done that, you can use all of these data information together to provide a personalized experience for those users. At this point, you are at the gold standard, what we called the optimized stage of SIAM maturity, right? And here's a use case that's the epitome of this journey. Hard Rock. Hard Rock came to us a bunch of years ago, and they filled a contact form, say, hey, we have a API management requirement. We got on multiple calls, teams went on site, we tried to understand what's the actual problem you're trying to solve, what's the problem you're trying to solve. After many conversations, we landed on the actual problem they're trying to solve, a customer experience problem. Hard Rock around the world had 7 different loyalty programs. Every time they buy a new hotel, it's a loyalty program there. 7 different loyalty programs. They had completely disconnected user experience from web, mobile, in person, to their devices. And it was even more disconnected around the world, from property to property, even in just the US. They want to unify all of these things. They launched a project called Unity, which also ended up being the name of their new loyalty platform. It's called Unity by Hard Rock. And today, you have a singular authentication experience across web, mobile, right down to the slot machine in the casino. You can log into the slot machine and play with your Hard Rock points. And the more you gamble, you get more points, you gamble again, you know how that goes. Right? But a singular unified experience across every authentication. Even in person, when you go to a Hard Rock cafe or casino or the resort or the rock shop, you authenticate using Unity by Hard Rock, your singular unified experience. Right? And that was step 1. Now, they realize, Geethika.Cooray. He's been to 3 Hard Rocks in the last 3 months. They know that Geethika.Cooray loves fluffy pillows, because I called some housekeeping system and it's recording the housekeeping system, I asked for fluffy pillows. They know that every time I go to a Hard Rock cafe, I buy steak. Right? They know that I requested rooms on a higher floor because I went to Hard Rock Vegas and requested it at the time of checking in. Now they have all these data, all obtained through consent, right? They have this data. Now, how do you use that to personalize this information? These are all in completely disconnected systems around the world. Now, with all the API management integration in place, now integrated with the identity, next time I go and try to book a room, by the time I get to the room, there's fluffy pillows. I'm assigned a room in the higher floor. And because the inventory management system is connected, they know 5 days after I check out from that particular room in Hard Rock Maldives, there's some steak that's going to go bad. Before it goes bad, I'm sent a coupon, 50% off if you eat at Hard Rock Cafe and have the steak. Amazing experience for me, maximizing revenue for Hard Rock. Now that is the journey that they are going to, truly personalized experiences. Another one of our customers, Time Bank. They're called Time Bank in South Africa. They're called GoTime in Asia. They're a digital-only neobank, completely digital. They're growing very fast at a very rapid pace. These guys they're catering to those users who love their Netflix-like digital experiences. Right? I was talking to New York University recently and one of our customers, and they were like, I was asking about what are the social login options you guys use, and they're like, oh man, our students want to log in with TikTok. Of course, US is in a bit of a dicey situation with TikTok, but they want that sort of experiences. Now, Time Bank and GoTime especially are focused on how do you provide those really digital native experiences, giving the standard banks a good run for their money. Right? Their problem is if there's any downtime, completely being digital, if there's any downtime, if there's any authentication issues, their users are going to be scared because they have no access to their money. So no downtime is allowed. Right? That is Time Bank running a singular authentication experience across all the channels. No in person, but all the other channels they have. Right? And finally, this is a digital identity use case. So UAE Pass is a digital identity for 7 states in UAE. That's Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Ras Al Khaimah, 7 states. All the citizens, expats, anyone who's visiting the country can authenticate into any government service. Today, they have about almost 180, I think, partner agencies around the 7 states who have signed up to this. And there are 7 semi-government organizations like Etisalat, which is the largest telco in the region. If you go into to etisalat.ae, you either log in with your username and password or with UAE Pass, the digital identity. They've taken it from authentication options to your e-signatures. All of that happens and are authenticated and verified using UAE Pass, which is basically WSO2 running the back. Right. Yeah, and we have multiple government entities, institutions that's using us here in Africa and around the world, right? Trying to provide these services to their employees and to their citizens, and they're using our technology for those G2C use cases, right? Then, that was consumer-facing SAM, right? This is B2B SAM, newer space. Here, it's about any B2B-facing SaaS or cloud platform, right? Think of your core banking applications. Think of your banking agent applications. Think of your corporate insurance applications that you provide, right? So these applications are utilized by other businesses. So now these businesses will want to come and plug the enterprise IDP. It's about providing them with the ability to manage and authenticate and figure out how their users authenticate into the platform, right? I have this quick diagram to talk about this a bit more in example. So we talk about this SaaS provider. It could be any one of those B2B applications, right? You think of every one of your customers or partners or franchisees as an organization, right? The first problem is about the SaaS platform providing admin rights to manage these users, the staff and the consumers in each of these customers to those customers. You first start off by considering these all as organizations. Those days we use this term multi-tenancy, right? We don't use multi-tenancy anymore. It's abstracted out as called organizations. First you map out these organization hierarchy, right? Every one of your corporate banking customers has its own organization. And thereafter, you provide them with admin privileges. The CFO gets added onto your corporate banking application, and that CFO is given rights to define who else they want to add onto the platform, what roles they should be assigned, and so on and so forth, right? On a per organization basis. And they can define, okay, one customer decides, yeah, they can come onto this platform and create username and password. The other customer, your other corporate customer decides, no, I have an enterprise identity provider. I want to plug that enterprise ID provider into it. So each organization has delegated rights to figure out how their users authenticate into your platform, right? And this can go into multiple levels of hierarchy as well, right? Think about a reseller coming onto your platform. Could be, I know it's probably a bad example, but you go with it anyway. Think of your agents, agent banking. Agent bankings, they are resellers. They sell it to other businesses, right? At this point becomes B to B to B. And at multiple levels, you have delegated administration. Each of these organizations can choose to set up their own branding as well, so that with their employees or consumers log into this platform, they can have their own customized authentication experience into your organization. As far as the end customer or consumer is concerned, they don't need to know it's the SaaS platform is being provided by your bank downstream, right? I have a use case, I'll talk about this. This is Nutanix. Are you guys familiar with Nutanix? Hybrid infrastructure cloud provider, yeah? So they have 23,000 enterprises using their technology. Developers from 23,000 enterprises, right? Think about Hard Rock. If Hard Rock, I'm not really sure, probably should check this. If Hard Rock was a Nutanix customer, they have 1,000 developers. They will tell Nutanix, hey Nutanix, I have 1,000 developers. I don't want them to create accounts on the Nutanix platform. I want to plug my enterprise IDP. That was what they were asking Nutanix when they came to us many, many years ago. And Nutanix, using our Identity Access Manager, our IAM platform, were able to create that experience where they consider every one of the customers as its own organization, provided them with delegated administration. Say, Hard Rock, hey, you have delegated rights. You can define how your users log into our platform. Hard Rock chose to integrate their enterprise IDP, maybe, right? And then Nutanix will say, okay, these are the roles on our platform. You're a developer, you're a manager, you're a system admin. Those are the different roles, and Hard Rock's administrator can assign their users to each of these privileges. Right? And in the next use case, it's a consumer at the end, not an employee, right? So this is today the world's largest singular IoT platform, Vodafone IoT. They have 175 million devices managed today only in Europe and some part of Africa. They're about to expand globally, and this number is going to grow exponentially very soon. So we are talking about these IoT devices. In one of the use cases for the IoT devices are vehicles. So Yamaha, Volkswagen, Porsche, but 30 different vehicle manufacturers have these devices embedded into their vehicles. But you as a consumer of a BMW, a BMW customer, you log into this platform to add data for internet in the car, for location services. You might be logging into a platform that looks and feels like BMW, right? That's all completely branded, right? That is the power of our B2B capabilities, and that's what Vodafone IoT is doing around the world, right? And then, of course, so those are the two SIAM use cases, B2C, G2C, or B2B SIAM. And then we talk about workforce access management, right? So we have many organizations using us for single sign-on, MFA, and so on and so forth for their employees, because employees also deserve experiences that are simple, seamless, and also at the same time are secure. The more secure they are, or more simple and seamless they are, the more secure they are, right? And finally, API access management. I have a couple of customers, like Standard Chartered Bank around the world, uses us for API access management. They don't use WSO2 API Manager, different API gateway, but alongside that, they use us for API access management. Transport for London, which Dinal was talking about, it's not just the tubes, it's about any type of transport, trains, overground, tube, buses, all of that is using us for both API access management and API management and all of that shebang. One banking customer from a workforce SIAM standpoint, Banco Pichincha, one of the largest banks in the LATAM region. They came to us with so many different type of applications, mainframe, cloud, on-prem, such a complex enterprise, and they wanted access management, single sign-on, MFA across all of these applications. We were to successfully deliver this in record time. They were quite surprised. So WSO2, we've been doing this access management for a long time. We know, given our products are open source, we know of 1 billion identities that we manage in basically any industry you can think of. And we provide all these types of access management, all the types of access management I just spoke about. And even if you're a Hilton Honors member, 160 million Hilton Honors members around the world, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone authenticating into any of their platforms, that's WSO2 there, right? And our extensibility, scalability, those few use cases themselves are testament of our ability to handle scale. For us to be, you guys talk about, we spoke about, how analysts, recognize us. That's WSO2. We're only behind ForgeRock and Ping, which are now a single company. So we are just behind Ping Rock. I'm not sure what they're calling themselves today. But just behind them, ahead of Okta, IBM, from a SIAM perspective, very specifically custom identity access management. So we have 3 different product offerings, or deployment options really. One is Identity Server, the open source downloadable service. You can run it yourself, or have some of our awesome partners like Sibyl that'll provide managed services around it. On the other far end, we have Asgardio, which is a multi-tenanted SaaS. Lashan mentioned using the Choreo Dev Challenge, the more services you use, you get more points. If you use Asgardio as part of the developer challenge, you get more points there as well. And then we provide a single tenanted SaaS, a private cloud service, which we call Private Identity Cloud, for anyone who wants to be in the cloud but is not ready for public SaaS. So 3 different deployment options, and what's awesome is that's the same code base across all 3 of these. And finally, open source. We are big on open source, and we truly believe it. It's the bedrock of how the WSO2 company grew and succeeded. And we are truly truly committed to having our technology open source. We are going SaaS, yes, but the core is still based on open source. If I could have 5 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen, your attention for 5 more minutes, I want to let you know about an exciting, something that we are very excited about. And I've been talking to so many customers in the last few weeks, and they've been really impressed about Identity Server 7. This is the latest release of our Identity Server version. We went on a journey at WSO2 where we were building out this downloadable on-prem product, Identity Server. From there, we started deploying to SaaS, Asgardio. So from an on-prem open source solution to a SaaS service, the experience has to be completely different from SaaS service. So we went through the SaaS journey, we succeeded with Asgardio, and we learned a lot from that user developer experience improvement requirement. We learned from it, we brought all of those learnings back into our on-prem service Identity Server. And Identity Server is now completely transformed. We have taken an already great developer experience to a next level. I'm going to skip that. Basically, this is what our console used to look like back in the day, and we've now transformed that into completely SaaS feeling on-prem solution, right? And we've brought in some features for developers where they have out-of-the-box application templates that they can choose from, improving the efficiency and getting so they can truly get started really fast. Multiple, many more authentication methods available out of the box that they can choose from, and we keep on adding to these as well. And this is one feature we are most excited about. So, as your developers build out your logging flow, they can visualize. These called the visual editor, right? They can use these out-of-the-box, login flow options, drag and drop them. And as you build this out, you can also see the code running in the back end, right? Sort of a low-code, no-code sort of experience that we have with a login flow editor. It's available now with Identity Server 7. And something our customers always used to complain about, having to manage CSS and so on and so forth for the branding, for the login branding, login page branding. Now, all of these are available out of the box. So you can, you have an editor where you can build out the login page, and that goes on to even your customizing your emails, so on and so forth, adding the logos, everything available on the platform itself. We talk about this native mobile application login experiences. Sometimes you log into a mobile app, it sends you to a web browser where you actually log in and come back to the mobile app. A disconnected experience now available on that same mobile application itself. We have a mobile native API so that authentication experience is that much more simple and seamless. And our B2B SIAM capabilities that I was talking about, all of them are now available in Identity Server 7. It was previously only on our cloud solutions. Now it's available on the on-prem solution. And then support for FAPI. So FAPI 1.0, and now the latest is called FAPI 2.0. It's a financial grade API, goes that one step further to make your API. It's based on the OpenID Connect specs, but it goes one step further to make your APIs that much more secure. It comes from the open banking world. WSO2 used to have we have an open banking solution. We learned from that, and now we brought this support for FAPI 1.0. It's available on Identity Server 7, and we are in the process of getting FAPI 2.0 specs supported as well. And what's great, as I mentioned earlier, with its Asgardio, Identity Server, or Private Identity Cloud, singular code base, unified experience across all of these. You can start on-prem today. If you want to go to cloud tomorrow or whenever you are ready, it'll be the same sort of experience, and we can help you migrate that much more faster. So, yeah, IAM, ladies and gentlemen, like everything in life, is a journey. And we at WSO2, we're committed to being there with you through this journey to support you, to provide you, your users, help you provide your users with an experience that's both secure and simple and seamless at the same time, with the support of our awesome partners like Sibyl as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great evening.